The wind was whispering through the old pine trees that lined the narrow road. Snowflakes drifted gently from the dark sky, landing softly on rooftops, cars, and the empty benches in the park. It was one of those winter nights, the kind that makes the world feel both lonely and beautiful at the same time. In a small town surrounded by hills, the streets were quiet. Most people had already gone inside, hiding from the cold. Only the soft glow of yellow streetlights painted the roads, and in one of those dimly lit houses lived a young man named Ethan. Ethan was 23, a quiet soul who had seen too much for his age. Life had not been easy for him. His father had passed away 2 winters ago, and since then, his small family had struggled to keep going. His mother worked long hours at the bakery, and Ethan spent most of his nights helping her pack bread and clean up after closing. That night, as the snow fell outside, Ethan sat by the window, staring into the distance. The world beyond the glass was white and silent. He took a deep breath, watching the fog of his breath fade on the cold window pane. He whispered to himself, "Another year gone, and I'm still here, trying." He wasn't hopeless, just tired. Tired of waiting for things to get better. Tired of pretending he was strong when the truth was, he often felt lost. Then, his phone buzzed. It was a message from his old friend, Liam, someone he hadn't spoken to in months. The message said, "Hey, man. I'm in town. Want to meet? Maybe a walk?" Ethan hesitated. It was freezing outside, and he wasn't really in the mood to talk. But something inside him said yes. He put on his old jacket, wrapped a scarf around his neck, and stepped into the winter night. The cold air hit his face like a memory, sharp but alive. The snow crunched under his boots as he walked down the familiar street toward the frozen park. Liam was already there, sitting on the same bench they used to sit on after school. He looked older, but his smile was the same, warm and genuine. "Ethan," he called out, standing up to hug his friend. They sat together, watching their breath rise like smoke in the night air. For a while, they didn't speak, they didn't have to. Then Liam said, "You know, it's been a tough year for me too. I lost my job last month." Ethan looked at him, surprised. Liam was always the confident one, the one who seemed to have everything figured out. But now, there was a hint of sadness in his eyes. Liam continued, "I thought I was strong, but when things fell apart, I realized strength isn't about never falling. It's about getting up, again and again, even when you don't want to." Ethan stayed quiet, letting the words sink in. The park was silent, except for the whisper of the wind and the crunch of snow as someone walked by. Then Ethan smiled faintly and said, "You sound like my father." Liam laughed softly. He was a wise man. The 2 friends talked for hours. They spoke about old memories, playing football in the rain, skipping class, their dreams of traveling the world. They laughed, they remembered, and for the first time in a long time, Ethan felt light again. As the night grew colder, Liam stood up and said, "I've got to go, man. But listen, don't give up. Not now. Things change, even when we don't see it coming." Ethan nodded. "Thanks, Liam. I needed this." Liam smiled and walked away, disappearing into the snow-covered street. Ethan stood there for a moment, watching his friend fade into the night, like a shadow swallowed by white light. Then he turned back toward home. As he walked, he noticed the bakery lights still on. Through the window, he saw his mother cleaning the counter, humming softly to herself. He smiled. He hadn't realized how strong she really was, working late every night, never complaining. When he entered, she looked up and said, "You're late. Were you out in the snow again?" He nodded and smiled. "Yeah. I met Liam." She nodded, still cleaning. "Good. It's nice to see old friends." He looked around the bakery, the smell of bread, the warmth of the oven, the small flicker of the candle near the window. Something inside him changed. He realized that life wasn't about waiting for the storm to pass. It was about learning to find warmth inside the storm. That night, after locking up, Ethan and his mother walked home together under the falling snow. The world was quiet again, but this time, the silence felt different, peaceful, not empty. Before going to bed, Ethan looked out his window one last time. The snow had stopped, and the sky was clear. He could see the stars shining, bright and endless. He whispered softly, "Thanks, Dad, for the strength." Then he closed his eyes, knowing that tomorrow would bring its own challenges, but also, its own small miracles. Because sometimes, all it takes to change everything is one winter night, one friend, and one spark of hope.